Update: WRITETHRU, Avengers: Infinity War crushed it in China this weekend. With a $200 million RMB 1.266 debut, the Disney Marvel movie becomes the second biggest industry three-day bow behind The Fate of the Furious in local currency. That helped push the Anthony and Joe Russo juggernaut across the $1 billion mark at the international box office with $1.059 billion to date. The estimated global cum through Sunday is $1,606.8 million. Related, Infinity War is now second fastest to $500 million. Life of the party, no pizzazz with $18 million. The worldwide figure makes Infinity War the biggest MCU title ever, passing the Avengers. The superpowered threequel is now the No. 5 global release of all time. The worldwide weekend was worth a staggering $343.1 million, which was mega-fueled by China, where the Avengers collected enough stones to already exceed the entire runs of the Avengers, Captain America, Civil War and Iron Man 3. They also rep the No. 9 Western release of all time in the Middle Kingdom after just 3 days. Elsewhere, the movie was number 1 again domestically and No. 1 in the majority of offshore markets. Cap and Cruise overseas total further moves them to No. 5 on the all-time international release chart. This pushes Disney across $2 billion in international grosses in 2018 to date. Will the global Infinity War tally get to $2 billion? At roughly $400 million from the benchmark, it's a question mark. China will likely throw off a 1.5 multiple, but recall that Deadpool 2 starts mouthing off this week in most international markets, not China, Natch, and he's expected to do the business. After that, there's a host of global tentpoles to follow. We'll see how China and other avid markets do in the midweeks and what the holds are versus DP2. But let's still revisit that China opening. If we were looking at dollars, Infinity War beat Fate of the Furious as the No. 1 opening weekend ever. Both movies include the now built-in ticketing fee that we've talked about before, but local currency is really what counts. That's why we call this the No. 2 bow ever, as noted above. The Marvel franchise is big in the Middle Kingdom and anticipation was clear for this one. There was some online backlash about the April presentation of the film in Shanghai, where local fans felt there was too much emphasis placed on celebrities non-endemic to the movie. This clearly had no impact on the opening weekend. Elsewhere in the world, Paramount Platinum Dunes' John Krasinski helmed A Quiet Place crossed $100 million internationally in New Line. Warner Bros. Rampage is on the cusp of $400 million worldwide. Breakdowns on the films above and more have been updated below, however we will be slightly abridged today owing to the Cannes Film Festival holdovers. EXPANSIONSAVENGERS, Infinity War X, Shuttershock. The China opening was expected to be big, but much as the initial international bow was beyond surprising to the industry, the Middle Kingdom threw off the wild number. At $200 million for the 3-day, that puts Thanos atop any other Marvel movie in the market. International numbers and records are better based on local currency, and that's why we are considering AIW as the No. 2 best weekend bow ever behind Furious 8, which debuted at Easter 2017 to RMB 1.352M, but $184 million in dollars. The full overseas weekend was worth $281.3 million in 100% of the footprint. Outside China overseas, Infinity War is the highest-grossing release in industry history in Brazil, Central America, Bolivia, Venezuela, Latin America as a region, the Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, India, Hollywood, and Vietnam. In IMAX, the China opening was good for $20.5 million to become the all-time biggest bow in the format. Worldwide, IMAX has blown past $100 million to $118.3 million. AIW is IMAX's all-time biggest Marvel film and its 5th biggest release worldwide ever. Here's a rundown of the top 5 markets overall. China, $200 million, Korea, $84.6 million, UK, $82.1 million, Brazil, $55.6 million, and Mexico, $54.8 million. Rampage another $6.4 million this session in 64 territories takes the overseas cum to $307.4 million, and the global tally to $397.2 million. Germany opened this weekend to an estimated $1.6 million on 764 screens, including previews and ranking No. 2, roughly on par with the Pac Rim movies. France is keen with a -6% from open and a running cum of $4.8 million. Japan opens this week. A Quiet Place, Paramount Pictures, Paramount, Platinum Dunes. John Krasinski helmed and starring genre bender whooshed past the $100 million mark this weekend to bring the international cume to $100.4 million. China, France and Japan are still to go on this phenomenon. The UK has now claimed $16 million, Australia $9.1 million and Germany $3.6 million. Sherlock Gnomes. These guys had it in certain bump markets this weekend with an overall $5.6 million in 23 markets. The new plays on the animated adventure include the UK, which opened at No. 2 grossing $3.5 million, and Spain, which opened at No. 4 grossing $739,000. Germany was up 61%. Brazil is still to come. The international cume is now $28.8 million. Misc updated cumes. Notable asterisk Life of the Party, WB, $2.9 million, 8 markets. Isle of Dogs, Fox, $1.9 million international. Weekend, 38 markets, $24.7 million international. Cume Peter Rabbit, SNY, $1.6 million international. Box office, 53 markets. $214.7 million international. Cume Love, Simon, Fox, $588,000 international. Weekend, 12 markets, $16.4 million INF. Cume Local language in Mexico, MGM and Lionsgate's Pantaleon Film have the No. 1 movie of the weekend, where Overboard was released as Hombre al Agua with an estimated big debut of more than $10.5 million. This is the second highest opening weekend gross in Mexico after the opening of Infinity War this year and the highest grossing opening weekend ever for a Eugenio Derbez movie. The cast was in Mexico City earlier this week for the film's premiere, and this marks the biggest opening ever for a comedy in any language in Mexico.